Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, and Barak the Yahushai, like all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, great millstone, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, across the planet earth, preaching the truth and sincerity in the spirit and truth. I got a few articles, just from around the world, news and prophecy. This is out of RT News or RT.com, Russia Today. Basically, the UK can't find almost 100,000 reservists, for their active reserves list. Everybody's, jumping ship, most likely, because they can see, this war coming. They can see it, so so they're just jumping ship. They're trying to hide. But, there's going to be a draft, most likely, over there in the United Kingdom. Just like there was a draft over there in Ukraine. They call it inscription or conscription. It's a military service. Those young men have to sign up for that. But yeah, these active reserves, basically the UK can't find 95,000 of them. So there's going to be a draft, most likely, just like here in America. There's going to be a draft. People aren't trying to, sign up for this war. But this is out of Russia Today. It's called UK can't find 95,000 reservists on call-up list. Defense advisor. So dated yesterday, April 19th. It says George Robertson claims the Defense Ministry would not know where to find most of those eligible to serve in the event of an urgent need. And there's going to be an urgent need. The scriptures say that the Lord said, it says determination, to gather the nations over there to, the battle over in the Middle East, the Valley of Decision. It says determination into that to pour out his anger upon these nations. So there's going to be a major, world war, the last world war, World War III. Two woes have passed. One woe is coming quickly. The third woe coming quickly. So there's going to be a need for these young men, which basically they're going to go over there to be destroyed. The UK has effectively lost contact with tens of thousands of reservists who would be called up in a national emergency. George Robertson, former NATO Secretary General and lead advisor for the Strategic Defense Review, has said the SDR, amid the broader Western militarization over the perceived Russian threat, claims repeatedly dismissed by Moscow as nonsense. The UK rolled out its new SDR last November, outlining a shift to warfighting readiness by 2035. So, Lord will, come a little sooner than 2035, but, who knows the time and date. We just know that sudden destruction is going to come upon them. While they say, as soon as they say peace and safety, no man knows that time and date, though. But according to these prophecies, things are picking up. But yeah, so even though Russia was saying, that it's nonsense, a Russian threat, they're still getting their strategic defense review in line, and updating everything, and trying to get their reserves in order. Why? But that's because, this is the Most High just working on the minds of these leaders, and these ministers in defense, and these military leaders, because they know, that this war is coming up. However, speaking at a lecture in Salisbury this week, Robertson said that the government does not have a valid contact or health data for most of its roughly 95,000 high readiness reservists. So they don't even know where these guys are. They haven't kept up with them, but now they're trying to update all their contacts. They never really had to deal with war like that, really, since World War II. So now they're trying to update and find all these guys, that are missing to get them ready for this war. They're preparing the mighty men, as the scriptures say. But next scripture is out of the Associated News, the Associated Press, APnews.com. This is a major one. As Carney says, Canada's economic ties with the U.S. are a weakness that must be corrected. So yeah, there's they're saying their economic ties with the U.S. is a weakness now. So that's all part of them hating the whore and separating themselves. And Canada is a NATO nation. Yeah, they're part of that NATO program, Canada. So that goes into the beast hate the whore, man. So watch out for these different nations, these NATO nations that are turning their backs on America, because that's a major prophecy that's left to come to pass, man. These NATO nations are going to turn on America. It's out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said in a video address released Sunday that Canada's strong economic ties to the United States were once a strength, but now a weakness that must be corrected. In a 10-minute address, Carney spoke about his government's efforts to strengthen the Canadian economy by attracting new investments and signing trade deals with other countries. Yeah, trade wars always turn into real wars, man. Skipping down, Carney said tariffs imposed by the United States President Donald Trump have affected workers in the auto and steel industries. He added that businesses are holding back investments, strained by a path of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us. So that's tariffs and all that talk of, buying Canada and all that. That's stirring up these different leaders, man. And eventually they're going to turn their backs. It's going to turn into a hatred with America, And a lot of them are against that Iranian conflict. A lot of those NATO nations were with that. And Trump was pissed off about that. And so he vowed payback to these NATO nations because they didn't get in line in accordance to that Iranian war that they just did. So yeah, things are heating up, man. It's been a crazy year so far. The last one, obviously, is earthquakes, diverse places. It's out of NBC News. A major 7.7 earthquake strikes off Japan, prompting tsunami alerts. And this happened today, April 20th. Early this morning, residents of the affected region were urged to stay away from coastal areas, while tens of thousands of people were told to go to higher ground. Yeah, they had a tsunami alert, a warning, but now I think that's been recalled. It's just a large earthquake off the coast, no damage. Just a major powerful earthquake struck off the northern Japanese coast, measured a magnitude of 7.7. The earthquake prompted a tsunami warning. I believe that was lifted. Nuclear plants unaffected. No danger to the U.S. No major damage. So, it was a little one, but it was a big one, but didn't cause much damage, but it was still part of the signs of the times, man. Earthquakes in diverse places. You got the war, rumors of wars. The UK's, updating their reserves list, call-up sheets. These wars and rumors of wars. It's a perceived Russian threat in which Russia claimed as nonsense, but they believe Russia is a threat. Wars, rumors, the rumor of war. So they're getting their strategic defense review up to date, but that's Most High, in his determination. There's also, Lord preparing the mighty men. This is Joel 3:9. It says, I'll proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And that's what's happening right now. They're preparing for war. They're waking up the mighty men, going after these reservists that they can't find, updating their health sheets, trying to find them, getting their call lists together, getting the draft sheets together. That's what America's doing. They're updating their draft guidelines. I believe they're increasing the age limits to the draft, putting all this together. So around the world, they're preparing All the mighty men, they're preparing for war. Waking up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. That's the whole purpose of this Iranian war right now. Because Iran wants that nuclear missile. They're weak and they want to be strong. So they want that nuclear technology. It came out already. They already had it. They had that nuclear capability. But they're beating the plowshares, all these nations, upgrading their weaponry, upgrading missile defenses and all that. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. There calls thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit and judge all the heathen round about. That's what the Lord's going to do. He's going to judge the heathen. That's what it's called, the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Yahweh's judgment. The Lord's going to judge these heathens, man. Gather them all together in that valley of decision and nuke them, all while Yahweh Shai returns, man, to claim his throne on the planet Earth, to claim his crowns. He's going to conquer these crowns and take these crowns of these different leaders on the planet Earth, man. In the midst of all this, Yeah, like that earthquake, man. This is 2 Ezra 9:3. Oh, sorry, 2. And then shalt thou understand. I'll start at the top. And he answered me, man, and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. For when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I told thee before. Yes, all these prophecies have been written in paper, for they are faithful and true, man. They've been written down on tables for this time right now. So measure the time diligently, man. Understand the time that you're living in, So we're living in the end time of the end, man. These nations are hating America, man. That's the big one. That's the big one. Russia being a guard unto these smaller nations, putting hooks in their jaws. That was a major prophecy that came to pass. Russia trying to establish their old Soviet USSR regime, trying to establish that whole Russian Federation, the Lord putting hooks in their jaws and bringing them back. We're seeing that now. He's trying to gather these old nations and bringing them back. Those nations that broke apart from Russia and trying to bring them back, keeping up on getting them lands back, man. So we're measuring the time that we're living in, man. Then shalt thou understand. We understand perfectly, or the elect that is, or the hopeful elect, will they understand perfectly that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, and the hopeful elect understands it. 2/3 of our people, they're not going to get it. The ones that were called understand this truth, man. They understand the times that they're living in, man. That the Lord is about to, visit. The Lord is visiting this place. Therefore, and thou shalt be seen of earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Yeah, earthquakes, man. 7.7 just hit off the coast of Japan. Another one hit off the coast, I believe. There's been a couple earthquakes over there, man. Yeah, they're calling it a mega quake in the north, even though it was off. Even though it was off the shore, that was a big earthquake. That was a 7.7, so that hit directly on land. That would have been a disaster. But these are the times that we're living in, man. And uproars of the people. The people are mad. No kings. Everybody's protesting Trump. Protesting the war. Protesting this and that, man. All over. Uproars of the people, man. That's been going on for a while. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning of the prophets of old, have spoken about these things, prophesied against great kingdoms, against war, pestilence, man, and evil. And those same prophets are back today in the reincarnation, man. The subjects of the prophets, the spirit of the prophets are subject unto the prophets. So the prophets are back saying the same thing, that prophesying against great kingdoms. Great kingdom now is Babylon the Great. Here in America, prophesying the evil. That chip that they're about to push. That's the major evil that's coming. Wars and rumors of wars. That's coming. World War III. And this is all well understood by the hopeful elect, man. For like as all that is made in the world at the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, the end is manifest, man. This is the end. This is the time, signs of times. This is the time that we're living in, man. This is the end. This Revelation, to go with that, the Canada article, Associated Press, man, they're cutting economic ties with America. Everybody's distancing themselves, from America. Revelation 17:15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, it's talking about America, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, the horse talking about America, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So America's the whore. Those 10 horns and the beast that goes to the NATO and the EU, North Atlantic Trade Organization, and the EU, the European Union. And they're all hating the whore right now, man. They're all, these prophecies are jumping off the page, man. They shall hate the whore, and they shall make her desolate and naked, shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. How are they going to burn her with fire? Through the weapons of the Most High's indignation. It's that nuclear missiles, that nuclear destruction that's coming. For the Most High put in their hearts to fulfill His will. So the Most High had put in their hearts, in their minds, to fulfill His will. So the Most High is putting in the minds of Donald Trump to put tariffs, affect workers, let people lose their jobs. The Most High put in the mind for him to do that. The Most High put in the mind of this guy to say, hey, we got to separate from America. It's not economically viable anymore. Yeah, signing trade deals with other countries. All that's going to build up. That's not going to be, Trump ain't going to like that. Signing trade deals with other countries. You got to trade with America. You got to deal with America. Trump is trying to make, America great again, So all this is going to build up more and more. To the point to where, that World War III, that third blow pops off. They're going to burn America with fire, as the scripture says. So eat her flesh and burn her with fire, because they're going to hate her. All these countries. The Most High put in their hearts to fulfill His will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled, man. Yeah, man. So we're almost there, man. But there's still time. There's still time to repent. This is Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord while He may be found. Call ye upon Him while He is near. The Lord is near. The Lord is great in mercy. The Lord is merciful. For those that want His mercy. For the ones that want to be forgiven. For the ones that want to come back to their nationality and serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, put their faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, put their trust into Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. The Lord is merciful unto them, man. And the time He's still near, man. The prophets are still out there. The prophets are still out there on the streets, man. The famine of the word has not hit yet, man. Once that famine of the word hits, that's it. That's done. So there's still time to get right. It says, seek ye the Lord while He may be found. And He's able to be found, man. Call ye upon Him while He is near. Let the wicked forsake his way. This wicked is talking about Israelites. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto the Lord, and He will have mercy upon him and to our power, where He will abundantly pardon. All right. So yeah, man, time is near, man. With that, shalom.